Good evening. This is the night where we celebrate the winter solstice, the longest night. And apologies for the late start. This is what we in the business call pagan standard time. That means that the worship starts when the worship starts, and time does not exist. I try to avoid that, but here we are. Tonight's theme is found family, and we usually start by calling the directions.
I call upon the element of air, the spirits of the east, the summer breezes and the roaring wind, the air in our lungs and the air that used to fill the lungs of our ancestors before us, to the air that carries things that fly, the insects, the birds, the griffins, hippogriffs, and Pegasus. You that is ever dancing, that teaches lessons of the invisible, that topples trees. Infuse my intention with your swirling gifts. Carry my will on your back and raise my purpose into your air, into your sky. Air in all its glory. Hail and welcome, air.
Hail and welcome, air.
I invite you to turn to the south. We call upon the element of fire, the spirits of the south, the scarlet light of the rising sun, the life-giving flame of the hearth, the fires of rebirth from where the phoenix takes flight, the blazing light and passion of the Olympian, the singular flicker of the candle, its tender light calling us home, the sparks that build into a mighty blaze that raises the overgrowth so that new life can come forth. Fire and all its glory. Hail and welcome south.
Hail and welcome south.
I call upon the element of water, the spirits of the west, the lakes where fish frolic, the oceans that we swim around in, the seas where the merfolk dwell, the waves that formed the sand under our feet, the seashells we collect at the beach, where the otters play, water in all its glory. Hail and welcome, west.
Hail and welcome, west.
I call upon the element of earth, the spirits of the north, the trees that house the birds, the grass that we roll around in, the rocks that the fae play with, the soil under our feet, the flowers we use to weave bracelets, the leaves that dance their way off of branches, the earth in all of its glory. Hail and welcome, earth.
Hail and welcome, earth.
I invite you to turn toward the center. I call upon the element of center, the spirits of within, the energy that is the soul, the executive function to go about our day, the dragon that hoards our beliefs and interests, the feelings of grief, motivation, and rebellion in trying times, the source of the overpowering desire to dance, the beating heart within our chests. Center in all its strength, hail and welcome, center.
Hail and welcome, center. I call upon the element of love, spirits of the heart, those who move us to revere friends as family, the affection felt between elders and the youth that they teach, the spark that motivates Lilu Dallas Multipass, that which is often referred to as the fifth element, the loyalty between an animal and their human, love in all its glory. Hail and welcome, love.
Hail.
Tonight is the evening of the winter solstice, the longest night, Yule, whatever name you use for it, welcome. This is the night where the wheel of the year turns and the sun returns. But it also comes at a time of year that tends to bring great sorrow and or anxiety to many. Our culture teaches us that this time of year is about family, but that is a luxury that many people just do not have. Maybe your family is too far away and the funds to visit just aren't available. Perhaps you cut your own family out of your life to preserve your peace as well as your mental health and safety. Or you could be one of the many whose families are not safe because of who you love or how you gender identify. What are we supposed to do this time of year? Tonight, we will honor the winter solstice with our found or chosen family. This altar is to remember those members of our found family, those who are so close to us that we choose to elevate them to family status. If you brought something given to you by your found family, I invite you to please place it on this altar. You are all invited to tell us about it as well. Perhaps you didn't bring an item, but would like to talk about one anyway. My lovely assistant, Reverend Matthew, and I will carry mics around so everyone can hear you better. If you don't want to get up, please raise your hand and we will come to you. If you would like to place an item on the altar but not talk about it, that is also welcome. We want to fill the table with tokens of love and appreciation from the people we revere as family.
And you can go ahead and have a seat.
Would anyone like to speak?
Put this book here, that was given to me by my friend Jan.
Monty, could you hear that? Okay. Try again, please.
I put this book here that was given to me by my friend Jan because I consider her part of my family.
Yeah, it's green. Would anyone else care to speak?
So I have it in my car because, of course, I forgot to bring it in. I apologize for that. Mine is an AA Big Book that was given to me 10 years ago by a woman who helped get me sober 41 years ago. She was like a second mother to me, and her name was Anna, and she wrote an inscription in the book that just read, I discovered it about a week ago. I discovered it, the inscription, and it said, how much she loved me, and that I was like one of her own, she had 5 kids, and she said, now I have 6, and you're the 6th. So thank you, Anna.
Do you want to talk about yours? No. Would anyone else care to speak?
Hi, my name is JJ, and today I'm going to be talking about chosen families. Chosen families are families that are bound not by blood or by law, but by love, acceptance, and support. They're connections made by people who care about and respect each other. And chosen families are very common in the LGBTQ plus community and similar because queer people and people who present or identify alternatively to conservative or traditional standards are often ridiculed and othered by their very own families and their very own homes. And that's why they search for it elsewhere, because it can be hard to find support from their blood families. Of course, having a chosen family doesn't mean that you have to have a bad relationship with your birth family. Many people with loving and caring families also build connections with others, so sacred and special that they are also considered family. But if, to quote Rabel's The Village, your mom doesn't get it, and your dad doesn't get it, and Uncle John doesn't get it, and they say, don't dare, don't you even go there. You can't just cut off all of your long hair, you have to do as you're told. If they tell you, take off all that makeup, this is just a phase that you're gonna outgrow. Or, and I did these, you were born a girl, so you'll always be a girl, or vice versa with boys. If you identify as queer, then you're not my kid anymore. Why can't you act normally? Did we raise you wrong? Then please know that if you don't feel accepted, you have a whole community here for you, and we can support you. And also remember that you may not be able to choose your blood relatives, but you sure can choose your family. And every family is valid, even if it's chosen. As the holidays roll around and people eat Thanksgiving dinner with their families and spend Christmas morning with their families and count down the seconds until 2025 with their families, it's an important reminder that your family counts too. Whether your family is a group of close friends, a really kind neighbor who bakes you lasagnas when times get tough, a college roommate who doesn't have anyone to celebrate with this holiday season, or a murder of crows that mysteriously follows you through town, your family is valid. In fact, I have a chosen family of my own. You see, my granny became best friends with someone in college when they were both far from home, and my mom thinks of her as a second mom. So when they had a daughter, my mom and her daughter were like sisters. So I'm cousins with her daughter, Ava. That's generations of best friends who, through love and time shared, became family. And that family is just as important to us as our blood family. In fact, we just celebrated Thanksgiving with them at their house. So, as I grow up and have new experiences, I hope to find new people who love me and care about me to include in my own chosen family, because it's a really beautiful thing.
This reading, Our Children Did Not Get Their Wounds Alone, by Yolo Akili. Our children did not get their wounds alone. They were created by the actions of our family, our communities, and our world. They were created by the things we chose to believe in and the causes we chose to champion and the despair we chose to neglect. We didn't get them from individuals, and we cannot heal them operating as individuals. This healing work is communal. It needs to be present along with the ongoing work that the village must do to heal itself. Healing our children means we need to put love in every possible place we can think of.
A chosen faith, a chosen family. I was born into the UU Church, and my parents were both raised from adolescence in it. For a long time, I had rankled around a chosen faith, the narrative of people coming to find UUism paralleling the nation of immigrants language in American and Australian speeches, with me in the shoes of the Indigenous resident. I am not a recovering Catholic. I do not flinch at the word God with a capital G. I didn't flee oppressive dogma or seek ground where I wouldn't be harried for communing with the elements of the earth. But as I have grown, so too is my perspective. Have I not chosen to remain in this church, in this faith, despite coming from here? My dozens of peers throughout my time in the RE classes has shrunk to a rarefied few that still remain in the area, and fewer still that attend this congregation. I was born here, raised here, and have time and again reaffirmed my commitment, my connection to this building, this community, this faith. This is my chosen faith. But the message tonight is of family. And to that I say, is family not like this faith? It is as much a choice to stay as it is to leave, to forge anew as it is to forge the new. For some, for me, the choice was easy. My parents are some of the most incredible people I have ever met, their flaws and shortcomings eclipsed by their brilliance, their wit, their kindness, and their love. More than once have I found myself marveling at my sibling, thinking, how did I meet someone this interesting, this powerful, and full of life? I look at the web of friends, associates, acquaintances, and more who surround them, who choose to be in their lives with them. And I understand. They are a found family to others. And they are my family, but who they are is why I stay, why I keep reaffirming again and again, why I choose them over and over, is because of how we live in relation to one another.
I invite you to please open your gray hymnals to hymn 346. Come sing a song with me.
And if you feel called to, you can rise in body or in spirit. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream be seated.
What is found family? Found family. Not blood related, not married into, yet somehow you're a tribe, the people you belong with, where you're accepted for who you are. It took me so many years for me to find mine. I grew up with the military, but not of it. My father worked for the Red Cross, but always with the military. But we were not military. I was twofold alienated, living on a military base, sealed off from civilians, yet being a civilian on that military base. I was born on an army base in Virginia, but my first memories are of my mother's town in western Pennsylvania. I was 12 years younger than one sister, 17 years younger than the other. My father was 6,000 miles away in Japan. I had my mother, my grandmother, an aunt, a distant uncle, a more distant uncle, and two cousins, one boy, one girl, about my age. With the military, you move every 2 to 3 years. When I was 6, my father returned from Japan, and we moved back to Virginia. I was lucky. We stayed there 6 years. No point making friends. The boys and girls I went to school with on the air base moved off to places like the Philippines. No point dating in high school. The girls I got crushes on in Japan or New Hampshire all moved away. And so did I. I dated in Germany. Then we all moved away. By then I was in college. Back in the US, I continued into graduate school. I didn't settle into a permanent residence until I was 26 with my future wife. But I sensed there was family out there beyond my biological family. After all, that's how I met my wife. Yes, the one and only Amy. The battery doesn't go in this mic. One evening, by chance, at graduate school at the University of Virginia, I went to a Slavic club party because I was interested in learning Russian. I was 26. A dance group began to perform. Suddenly, I was hearing music I heard when I was 9, folk music from Bulgaria and Macedonia that was featured in a documentary we owned, mystic music and rhythms that spoke directly to my soul. La la, la 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 la. The university had a folk dance club. Within a year, I was leading it. Folk dancing led me to Amy down the road in Richmond. But first, I fell in love with a young woman whose father was the president of the local Unitarian fellowship. I actually fell in love with the entire family. The entire family folk danced. That's how I became a Unitarian. Within a year, I was providing the recorded music for the Sunday services there. I half wished that that family had adopted me, even though things didn't work out. Then, in the process of meeting Amy and moving to Richmond, I stumbled upon the memoirs of Christopher Isherwood, source of the stories behind the musical Cabaret. My mother had taken me to see the film a few years earlier. The memoirs are an open declaration of gayness. In the memoirs, Isherwood finally decided to stop hiding his homosexuality, to proclaim it and accept it as good. Then off we go to California, Amy and I, and for the first time we meet pagans and Wiccans who are out in the open and forming communities together. We're not just solitary individuals alone anymore. We're meeting one another and forming public groups. And there are lots of us. We hold conventions. In Virginia, we felt like we would never meet any other ones. Coming here to this church and meeting non-binary people, having personal friends who are trans, some of whom are interested in me, and discovering that people interested in multiple committed love relationships aren't just random here and there individuals you run into by chance. People are also organizing and coming out into the open. And I learned there's a support group for such people. They now call themselves polyamorous. There's a national support group running out of San Rafael. There's a branch of that group meeting regularly at the UU Church in Honolulu, a UU church. And soon there's a nationwide UU polyamory group, eventually recognized by the UUA. Soon, I'm not feeling so minoritized, so outcast. I feel embraced by supportive family. Discovering around the same time the community of writers, groups of people who get together and figure out how to get their thoughts onto paper so that others can see them. I know my biological family cares about me. I'm also sure that aspects of my life puzzle them. But now I have a wider family of folk dancers, pagans and Wiccans, GLBT, non-binary and trans, and all shades of the spectrum, and polyamorous as well. It's great to feel I'm not alone. A minority within a minority within a minority. Religious minority, gender minority, affectional minority, isolated individual writers and poets. I feel I'm surrounded now by supportive, found family. Now, I feel so blessed, supported and welcomed for over 30 years. Blessings to those who have welcomed and supported me.
I invite you now to stand in body or spirit and sing hymn 188 in your gray hymnal. Come, come, whoever you are. We will sing it 3 times.
Just waiting for the lyrics. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Come yet again. Come yet again, come.
Blessed are the wanderers seeking affection. Blessed are the worshipers praying from closets, pulpits, pews in hardship. Blessed are the lovers of leaving family and familiarity, leaving tables where love is not being served. Blessed are those who stay. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for justice, for they will be satisfied. Blessed are the queer, disciples of truth, living, breathing, sacred reflections of divine love. Blessed are the queer by Helen H.P. Rivers.
I invite you to please get comfortable and close your eyes. Imagine a path going through a densely wooded area. Your feet start walking down the path. What do you see around you? What do you hear? What do you smell? How does the air taste? You enter a clearing with a table and 2 chairs. Have a seat. There is an empty basket in the table's center. What does it look like? An embodiment of love sits in the other chair. Who are they? Do they look familiar? What do they look like, if not? How did the energy of the space change after their arrival? They have some wisdom to impart on you. What do they say? They place something into the basket. What is it? Their time draws to a close, but they have one more bit of wisdom for you. they say their goodbyes and disappear, leaving you alone in the space. How does the energy change after their departure? You set off along the same path as before. Have the surroundings changed? Does the air taste any different? Are the smells different? You're back where you started. When you are ready, take a deep breath and open your eyes. Reflect on what you took in on your journey and how it was different when it started and ended. If you feel comfortable sharing, please raise your hand and a mic will be brought to you.
I met the woman who was midwife for my third daughter's birth. She was the embodiment of love. And what she said was, keep giving birth.
Do you feel comfortable sharing your visitor?
I met a former
It's not? No, it's on yellow.
I met a friend of mine who was a professor, and she didn't speak, but she left a rose quartz heart in the basket. And I could feel the color pink, and I could feel the warmth of her love that has been with me ever since I've met her. And as I walked away, I was aware as I was there that the message that I was getting was that you are part of the cosmos, everything is alive, you are alive, below you is alive, above you is alive. And as I walked out, what stayed with me was the warmth, and everything else was the same, but I traveled with the warmth of that love moving out of the forest.
I met my mother there, And she told me that I was lovable, and that she put a rose in the basket, and said you have to accept all, everything, roses, the flower and the thorns. And as I was walking out, the forest was less dense, and then it opened into a meadow, and there was more sunlight.
Do you feel comfortable sharing how the energy changed? Shauna Rose says that their first love gave them a blue rose. They think of him as a brother now. Their husband and his family are additional chosen family, and they were reminded to be kind. Rosemary Baez also said that she was told to keep loving all non-human beings, and a note was left. It was to be unopened until the need arose. And Shauna Rose also says that they saw their husband in their vision. Do you feel comfortable sharing the gift that was in the basket? I thank you for your participation and give the floor to Jenny and her reflection.
I didn't grow up with a lot of family, cousins or uncles, aunts, and grandparents. My parents had a super fast courtship, and they eloped to California from the East Coast. I didn't know what it was like to be surrounded by family. I guess I was destined to find many of my family members. Although I wasn't raised Catholic, I liked the idea of godparents, so I chose mine. My godfather was British, an excellent cook, designer, and my mom's best friend. He seemed to know so much more than the average American, and he was humorous and charming about it. He was part of the reason why I got into recovery without feeling bad or shameful. I admired everything he did, and I especially admired his courage when it came down to admitting he needed a clean start. I miss him terribly. My godmother, also chosen by me, is still alive and is present in my life. She's an artist. She does sketches and painting, and oh, she has such a dramatic sense of style. She wears all black with gobs of silver jewelry. This bracelet I'm wearing is from her. Like my godfather, she's very savvy, an old soul in many ways. Did I know her in a past life? I didn't ask either person whether or not they would agree to being my godfather, godmother. I just claimed them to be my relatives. I think that's what it's like in found families. There's a closeness or a bond that goes so deep that they feel like family. So why not make them related to you? I have a blood aunt in Connecticut. I call her partner my auntie too. They're my East Coast aunties. I've picked up some West Coast aunties too, Marianne and Marilyn. Marianne has helped me develop an appreciation for nature and a spiritual connection with it that goes beyond just, hey, look, there's a pretty flower. With Marianne, the relationship is so deep that she talks of seeing the spirits within trees. She makes real for me the interconnectedness of all living things. Marilyn, a singer-songwriter, has opened her arms to me and has been a strong shoulder to lean on. I can tell her anything. She's one in a million. How many people in your life can you say actually really listen to you? She's rare and much appreciated. Last but most importantly, I've got a new sibling. I had the supreme honor of being at their rebirth day in September. I remember nervously receiving the piece of paper with my lines to recite at the proper time for the ritual for my siblings' transformation to their new and true name. And I wondered, would I know when to speak? Would I squeak instead of speak because I'm nervous? Would I be able to read the words because I might cry and then blur all the words on the paper and then not be able to read them? But everything went beautifully. My cheeks did hurt from smiling a lot, though. I've had a lot of time to write this reflection, but I still can't find the words for how important my sibling is to me. They cheer me up. They take me out of the darkness I sometimes go to because I've got a brain-damaged mind. And they make me laugh. By the way, I practice Nichiren Buddhism. And in Buddhism, we believe that souls reincarnate together. We don't get reborn in the same roles we had before, but we're close. So maybe that's another explanation for found family. The man I picked to be my godfather could have been in my blood family in another life. Maybe he was a parent, or a brother, or maybe even a sister. I wonder what I'll be in the next life. It comforts me to know that I have brothers and sisters and parents and uncles and aunts and so on, perhaps all over the world. May we all find our family, or better yet, may we all realize that we're all related to each other and we're family already.
I invite you to please open your teal hymnal to hymn 1063, the Winter Solstice Chant. Feel free to rise in body or in spirit.
Now, I've been unofficially leading these songs, and this is a song that I don't know how to lead, so I'm wondering if there's anyone who knows this tune well. Can you hear me now? I was just saying that I don't know how to sing this tune, so I was asking if anyone else does. Or shall we muddle through it? Sally, wonderful.
Children of the earth, we have come to sing to each other, sister and brother, songs of our mother. Children of the earth, autumn soon will breathe her last breath, and quick will her death is written in winter's skirth. Children of the earth, we can feel the air getting cold as darkness is cold and sleeps mother's mother's earth. Children of the earth, we have come to sit in the darkness, breathe in the silence, think of our mother earth.
Everyone adopts their non-biological family in different ways and for different reasons. Perhaps they're your childhood best friend. Maybe they were the rock that kept you grounded while you struggled through a breakup or illness or trauma, what have you. Then there's the possibility that someone unrelated is a better option than your own biological family. And there are a plethora of reasons why. That's just to name a few. But we all have our own reasons to do it. When I moved out, finding my own proved difficult. There were many that I gave familial titles to, but I drifted away from most of them as I started really growing into my own person. To the ones who stayed, I say thank you. However, there are others who drifted for whatever reason, and that's fine too. We sometimes must make space for the new, but I thank them as well as those who filled in the gaps that they left. One person who has been a member of my found family for years is my good friend Firefly from the Palo Alto UU Church. I met him in this very building on the weekend that bridged 2006 and 2007. It was my first young adult con, the first of many. I was a socially awkward, undiagnosed autistic with unrecognized trauma who'd been thrust into a new social situation with new people in a strange city. He felt safe from the jump and was actually a major catalyst for me becoming a Unitarian at all. We became very close very quickly, and before long, we were talking outside of cons. Who remembers Yahoo Instant Messenger? That was our lifeline at times, and probably why we became so close at all. Then he suffered a really bad breakup and needed someone to lean on. I was incredibly emotionally immature, but I did my best. A few years later, he released his first album. I was so happy for him that I bought his CD twice because I didn't know how else to support it. A few more years passed and I suffered a trauma and needed him. He actually dropped everything to drive about 100 miles from Palo Alto up to Sonoma County to support me. Thanks to some mutual friends who were willing to put him up, he was able to be that support for a few days. Not long after that, he aged out of the young adult community, and it was a blow to me specifically. The end of an era. As someone 4.5 years his junior, I suddenly was thrust into the elder young adult role. Worse, it meant that my own era would come to an end sooner rather than later. But his bridging celebration had been beautiful, so it was something I was actually looking forward to while simultaneously dreading. Emotions are weird. About a month later, I left home and was woefully unprepared for the leap or the consequences of it. But he was there to catch me when I fell, again, driving up to Sonoma to help. But this time, when he came back to the South Bay, I was with him. It was only for a week, but it was my first Thanksgiving away from home and my biology. By the time he drove me back to Sonoma, we had a plan of attack for my immediate future. I followed it and am better and more resilient for it. Then, a few years ago, it was again my turn to support him. Over a decade had passed since his breakup, so I was better at being what he needed, especially since what he needed from me was extra hands to help him clean out several storage units. Easy peasy, especially when you compare it to a breakup. We've been through so much together that regardless of biology or what anybody says, he's my brother. Which might be why the chorus of one of his songs popped into my head immediately when I thought of the theme for what this worship should be, found family. Like seconds after, probably less than 3. He's in San Diego right now, visiting his brother for the holidays, which is why we'll be using a recording rather than him. I could recite the lines, or we could let Maestro Monty play the song for you all. Monty? the floor to announcements. Does anybody have them? Please raise your hand and a mic will be brought to you.
Okay, I'm Bill, and a week from tonight in Hattie Porter Hall, South Bay Circles will be hosting a Yule get-together. I think at 4 p.m. actually, anytime after 4. So drop by if you'd like to get together with folks for the Yule time. Thanks.
I would just like to say I'm grateful for this community, and I wanted to make an announcement. Thank you, Pete.
We will now close the circle. I call upon the element of love, spirits of the heart, those who move us to revere dear friends as family, the affection between elders and the youth that they teach, the spark that motivates Lilu Dallas Multipass, that which is often referred to as the fifth element, the loyalty between an animal and their human, love in all of its beauty, hail and farewell, love. Hail and farewell, love.
I call upon the element of center, the spirit of within, the energy that is the soul, the executive function to go about our day, the dragon that hoards our beliefs and interests, the feelings of grief, motivation, and rebellion in trying times, the source of the overpowering desire to dance, the beating heart within our chests. Center in all its power, hail and farewell, center.
Hail and farewell, center.
I call upon the element of earth, the spirits of the north, the trees that house the birds, the grass that we roll around in, the rocks that the fae play with, the soil under our feet, the flowers we use to weave bracelets, the leaves that dance their way off of branches, the earth in all of its beauty. Hail and farewell, north.
Hail and farewell, north.
Am I on? I call upon the element of water, the spirits of the west, the lakes where the fish frolic, the oceans where we swim around in, the seas where the merfolk dwell, the waves that form the sand under our feet, the seashells we collect at the beach, where the otters play, water in all of its beauty. Hail and farewell, West.
Hail and farewell, West.
I call upon the element of fire, the spirits of the south, the scarlet light of the rising sun, the life-giving flame of the hearth, the fires of rebirth from where the phoenix takes flight, the blazing light and passion of the Olympian, the singular flicker of the candle, its tender light calling us home, the sparks that build into a mighty blaze that raises the overgrowth so that new life can come forth. Fire and all of its beauty. Hail and farewell, South.
Hail and farewell, South.
I call upon the element of air, the spirits of the east, the summer breeze and the roaring wind, the air in our lungs, and the air that used to fill the lungs of our ancestors before us, to the air that carries things that fly, the insects, the birds, the griffins, hippogriffs, and Pegasus, you that is ever dancing, that teaches lessons of the invisible, that topples trees. Infuse my intention with your swirling gifts, carry my will on your back, and raise my purpose into sky. Air in all its beauty, hail and farewell, air.
Hail and farewell, air. We have some percussion instruments for you to play with at the end. The circle is open but unbroken. May the love of the deities be ever in our hearts. Merry meet and merry part and merry meet again. Thank you. Drive safe. And there are refreshments in Happy Water Hall. And there are coffee and refreshments.